Hello students, in today's class we'll try to sort out the queries related to for loop. So I have got few queries from students regarding the for loop that we discussed in our last class. So in this class I'll try to resolve the queries. So let us make a new program where we can see for query, and there let me make a fresh program for clarity. The first query is something like this. One of the student has written for anti-I is equal to I or any variable, right? 0 or 1. I is less than equal to 100. Then I plus plus. And then this terminator also he has put. And then system.out.println the value of I. Okay, let us run this. First of all, let us save it for query dot Java. Some problem is there. Cannot find the symbol println I, right? Yes, println I, it's not finding. Okay, let me correct it. I'll tell you everything about it, okay? But let me make the program the way it has been made by the student. Then I'll clear this point also. This is what something, this is kind of thing that has been done by a student. I'll tell you everything. This time, no problem. Now, what you are expecting and what it will give you, let us see. It gives 100 or 101. Why so? Why so? Let us try to understand it. This is very good quality of query. This is a very common mistake every novice user, new user do. So the first thing is, here you will come to realize or understand the importance of the semicolon that we give. Actually, semicolon is used to terminate that statement. And if we are giving a semicolon just after the for loop, then what? It is not going to this because it has to terminate here. Means the loop is revolving inside this only itself. It's not going beyond the terminator. It's not coming to this point. First, what it is doing, from 1 to 100, it is looping within the loop only. It's not doing this work. Why? Because this is something other than the for loop. This is not part of the for loop. For loop is ending here. For loop is completely ending here. This is the place where for loop is ending. Means for loop is internally executing for the 100 times. And after completing its 100 time, when the value of I became 101, then it came down here and now it is printing this. And that's why we are getting this result 101. If you'll put here less than 100, then what? It will give you output as 100. Why now? The value of I is 1 and one query is there that why we write this I plus plus. I'll make this query even more clear, but I would like to tell you that I plus plus is nothing. This plus plus is an operator in Java whose task is to simply increment the value of any variable to 1. Means if the value of any variable is 5, then after execution of this, it will become 6. And like this, it does the work of incrementation only. So if loop is working, then in a loop, we need to provide what? The initial value of the loop variable and the target value of the loop variable. And then we also need to provide how it will increment. It will increment by 1, it will increment by 2, it will increment by 3, or how it will increment. So normally we increment it by 1. So how will we increment by 1? So there is a shorthand operator, a small operator, or this is called increment operator. It's an operator. If you need to know more about these operators, then you can refer to my video over the operators in Java. That's also uploaded there. You can watch it, where you will find more about these operators. So this operator simply helps to increase the value of I. So in a loop, what happens? Initially, it starts with 1, and due to this, it just increases 1, then again 2, then 3, like this. It goes on increasing. So this is how we write these things. So the problem is, one of the student has made this program expecting that it will print the number from 1 to 100. He did everything nicely, but what he did, he put this semicolon there. Semicolon is doing what? Is terminating the for loop there. And after terminating it, and then it is coming to this when the value of I has increased and is now become 100 or 101, and that's what it is printing. So this can be resolved by just removing this from there. Now let us see how it is working now. Once again, you need to compile it after making corrections. Now see, it's nice. It's working. All 1 to 100, everything is there now. Okay. Look, till 99 it is working. Why? Because it has been told to do loop till it is less than 100, and 99 is less than, after that it became 100. Okay. Now, in order to clear this particular thing, this particular I++, most of you have some problem in this. So let me remove this for loop and simply make a variable x equals 5. Now do what? System.out.println value of x then do one thing, write x++, and then do the same thing, and then again write x++, and then again do the same thing, and see what is the result now. Initially the value of x was 5, so it printed value of x 5. Then after x++, the value of x has incremented to 1. One more, it has been added to x. Now it is 6, and again after this execution, this. So this is not the part of for loop. It simply means that it is not like it can be only used with for loop. It's the integral part of for loop. It's not. It is an independent thing that can be given there. Now this is what we do when we want to increase 1. So other thing what we can do for increasing 1 is like this. X is equal to x plus 1. X is equal to x plus 1. This also do the same thing. Now how it is working, try to understand. What we are doing, we are assigning. This is assignment operator. This is a x, whatever the value of x is. What is the value of x? X value is 5 plus 1. This becomes 6. So assign 6 to this x. The new value of x, this is very important thing to understand. The new value of x will become the existing value of x plus 1. That is, existing value of x is 5 right now, and plus 1, that becomes 6, and 6 will be printed here with this. Now the existing value of x is 6 plus 1, 7. Now x has become 7. So the same thing, let us first see this, whether it is working or not. Look, working the same way. So it simply means this is simply equal to this. This x++ is same as this. In Java or in C or C++ also, this operator is there. And because of this operator, C was given the name C++. So leave it, not to discuss this. So if you really want to add simply 1 to a variable, you can write this as false. This is a obvious thing that you can write. But instead of writing this, you can also write this. This is a facility or one of the things that is provided in such languages. So these both are same. Now with this, few of you just get confused that if it can be done like this, then if you want to add a 2 or 3, then can we write like this? Can it add 3 or 4 to the variable? Let us see what happens. It's an error. Okay, it is not allowed. It is allowed till this much only. You can add only 1 to it and not more than that. Further, this is again one of the query. Can we write this? Can we write this? Let us see what happens. No, we cannot write like this. Only plus plus is allowed. Now if you like, why only plus is, this is discrimination with all other operators. So dear students, we not need to discuss like this. Okay, it's not allowed means it's not allowed. Okay, so no need to bother much about that. This facility is only given for incrementing. So this is only error. No other operators can be used in this way. Should be very clear in your mind. Okay, one more thing is only 2 plus signs are allowed and not 3, 4 or more than that. So try it, and it's error. It's an error. Only two plus sign. This is simply an increment operator. It increases 1 to it. And yes, minus is the decrement operator, of course. Let us see this. To better understand this, you should watch the video regarding the operators. Look, value of 5, then it became 4, and then minus 6 change 3. I hope this point is clear to you. So now let us proceed for the next query. So another thing is, what if we want to increase more other than 1? Then simply what we can do, x is equal to x plus, let us say 9. X plus 9 means what? Whatever the value of x is, increase or add 9 to it. So 5 is the existing value of x. If we'll add 9 to it, it will become 14. And then see what happens. Five plus 9 became 14, and the existing value of now is x is 14, and minus is reducing 1 to it or decrementing 1, and that's it. So this is how we can increase, if you want to increase 9, 10, 11, 12, or 2 or 3. So if you want to increase 2, that we have done while making program to find the even numbers. At that time, we were simply adding 2 to the number. We were initializing the for loop with 0 and adding 2 means 2, then adding 2 it makes 4, then adding 2 to it makes 6, and then 2, all the even numbers you look at. You can use 3 also, 4 also, 5 I use 9 to just make the point clear. So another query is, so what is the difference between for loop and while loop? Look, we have tractor, we have truck, we have Mercedes, we have pickup, we have other vehicles also. What are the difference between them? So asking the difference, use the common, see the common things. They all have wheels, they all have engine, they all take you from one place to another place, but the purpose is different. If you want to work for agriculture work, then you can use tractor. You cannot use a Mercedes-Benz car for plowing the field. Okay. If you want to transport something from one place to another, truck is there, mini trucks there. If you want to transport yourself from one place to another, cars are there, SUVs are there, luxury cars are there, normal cars are there. So facilities are provided. The same way, for loop is also a loop, is a kind of vehicle. While is also a kind of vehicle. Do is also a kind of vehicle. You can also go from Lohardaga to Ranchi in a tractor also. But that is not suitable. So we have for loop for some specific type of work. We have while loop for some specific type of work. We have do loop for some specific type of work. So you need to decide for yourself which one you want to pick for your work to get done. And the program that can be made using a for loop can also be made using the while loop, or can also be made using the do loop. The same way, if a program can be made using the while loop, can also be made using the for loop. So there is not a difference kind of thing, but only flexibility is provided. and you can use it as per your someone finds for loop easy to use, or someone find while loop easy in some or suitable in some specific given situation. So it is situational. When you will start making a practical real life program, then you will come to realize that, oh, for loop I have to use here, while loop I have to use there, I have to use there. So there is no such difference. They all are similar. A program that can be made using for can also be made using while. So in order to make the point very clear, you need to practice. The things will become very clear to you. So the next query is, can we write break statement? Let us reset the program. I'm pressing Control Z. I'm pressing. Okay. So break and continue are two things that can be used with it. So break and continue, whichever you want to use, can be used, but they are always used with the if condition. For if condition, you can watch the videos regarding the if condition. That's also very important. I mentioned earlier. So if I is equal to 6, then what? Then break, or write it below it. Means I'm giving a condition ki as soon as the value of I is reaching 6, just break it. Break means what? It will take you out from this block. It will not take you out from out of the program. It will simply take you out from the block. In order to understand whether it is taking you out from the block or not, you can simply have this a message out of for loop. Okay. Now see it working. Look, it was working nicely till 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 also it entered. But condition is if I is 6, then break. Break means it will take you out of this block. And when it came out of this block, this encountered. And this encountered, so it executed this and now. So this is how break is working. Now how the continue works. So let us increase it to 7. And let us write one more condition. If I is equal to 5, you may add more conditions also, or I is equal to 3, then what? Then continue. Okay. Continue does what? Let us try to understand. Look how it is working. It started with 1, so it printed the value of 1. Then it did become 2. If I is equal to 2, no, the condition is not matching. If I is 5 or 3, no, condition not matching, so it printed 2. Now when it became 3, then it entered, then this condition is matching. I've given 2 conditions, is if I is equal to 5 or I is equal to 3. So now I is equal to 3. So it continued. Continued simply means what? It goes back to this. It goes back to this. Leaving everything after continue. Leaving everything after continue, it just continues the loop. The value of I has increased. It has become 4. Now it continued the loop. It left all the rest of the things. Now it became 4. It now printing 4. Now again it became 5. Then with 5 also it is set to continue. It didn't printed the value. Means it's not reaching here. It continued the loop, making it 6. Now it printed the 6. Now when it became 7, the break is written, which came out of this. So in order to understand the use of break and continue, you have to understand first how the if condition is working. For this, you watch the if conditions video. And please watch this particular section of the video again and again, or practice it with a different set of situations. You will understand it. So the next query is, one question is being asked, why for loop is important. So why for loop is important? I would like to add one more thing again, that condition and loops are both hands of any programming languages. If you have good idea about conditions and looping, you can do all the things. You use both of hands for doing everything, no? So the same way, if you have good idea about loops and good idea about conditions, then you can make anything. Okay. So that's why understanding how to loop is very, very important. So in order to understand of how well or how means how important a loop is, you just try to make any practical program, or you just try to make queries or problems that are given in your book or in over the internet. You just try to find out, make some program, try to make some. You will find that in every single program, not in very simple program like inter two number and print, there's some inter in these program. Not I'm not talking about these programs, but one level above, if you go, you'll find that no program is there which can be made without a loop or a condition. So learning loop and condition is the ultimate, is of ultimate importance. That's the very important thing. And if you have understood loop and condition, you can make anything. You can use any data type in looping. You can use any data type in looping. Let us see this. Let us make it float. Float. One query is also other data type you use. Of course, you can use it. So I is equal to 1.0. It's still 100. I equals I plus 0.1. Right? अब देखो तमाशा. ठीक है? Now remove all these things. And now see what will happen after this. What I'm doing, I'm just increasing 0.1. Until there, okay. Now see what will happen now. Look at this. Lossy conversion. What is now telling you? From double to float. Arre yaar. Here also you put F, or here also you put F to make all the float. Okay. Now let us see the way it is working. ये एक एक पॉइंट जोड़ रहा है किस रफ्तार से आप देखिए, और ये 100 तक पहुंच रहा है. Now if you'll see the loop, then you'll find that how well it is working. Okay, too many numbers are there, it's adding 0.1 to it, and this is how it's reaching its goal. So this is how we can understand that any data type can be used, but you just need to know. Most of you do not know how to use, where to use F. In last program also this program was coming and we learned that. Another question is, let us reset the program with int, easy to understand. Okay, let us remove these things and let us see one more version of for loop. One is asking, can we write only this I equals 1? Okay, so let us see whether it will work or not. Run it. It will continuously keep on printing 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Why? Look why. Here I am initializing it as a 1, and the condition, this part is, yes, these parts are optional. From here we can come to know that these are optional parts. We can have only one part in this also. There are 3 parts, part 1, part 2 and part 3. All are optional. This condition tells us that do the loop as long as I is less than 100. So what is the value of I? I is 1, and which is less than 100, and do what? Do this. And I is not getting incremented. So what is happening? The value of I remain 1, and this condition is getting true all the time. And this loop will, this is non-ending loop, non-terminating loop. This will keep on looping, keep on looping. Okay. So what we can do? We can do something like this. We can increase it here also in place of there. That place, just stop it. Control C can break this. Now save it and compile it and see it working. Now it's also working. So this is how we came to know that all the parts are optional. So let us remove this also. Can a loop be like this? Let us see. What I've done, initial value I, incrementing one and printing the value of I. Okay, then let's see what happens. You can find some more ways. Unreachable statement. This is the kind of situation where this will never reach. Let us remove it and try to execute this. And now it will run it. It will keep on counting till the range of int. Why it is working like this? Try to understand your students. We have provided value of I as 1. Now here a loop is given. No initial part, no target part, no increment part is given. Only this statement is given here. And I is increment 1. So since no statement true or false is given, so it will enter the loop and it will keep on looping. This is also another example of non-ending loop. So this is how we have resolved a lot of queries